Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're stepping back a bit, stepping back from that constant rush, the urgency that seems to define everything.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
We're diving into some sources that look at slowing down differently, not as like laziness or failure, but as something powerful, almost rebellious.
Rebellious is a good word for it. It's a fascinating shift in perspective, really. We're so trained to think transformation has to be fast or, something you post about.
Right, it has to be visible.
Exactly. So our mission today, I guess, is to unpack the difference between that visible hustle and the quieter stuff, the internal shifts that are actually real transformation.
Absolutely, because the deep insight here, it seems, is that the biggest changes, the most meaningful ones, they happen in the pauses, in the quiet moments.
It's in the stillness.
Yeah. So we really need to ask, what do self-love and healing actually look like when they're slow? And maybe not very glamorous at all.
The core of it.
Okay, let's unpack this whole self-love piece first then. It's often portrayed as, loud, right?
Definitely. Big affirmations in the mirror, maybe those super optimized morning routines.
Yeah, the perfect Instagram grid of self-care.
Right. But the sources here suggest something quite different, a kind of quiet rebellion. True self-love being much more internal, subtle even.
And I think what's key is that these aren't necessarily extra things you do, like add to a to-do list.
Good point.
They're more about choices instead of the default. Like the first example given, simply choosing rest over hustle.
Which sounds simple, but
But it's radical, isn't it? Especially when everything is pushing you to just keep producing.
it really is. It treats rest as necessary, not something you earn after you're already burnt out.
Right, not a reward.
And this quiet choosing goes deeper. It includes how we handle our own messiness. Like, the source points to forgiving yourself.
Okay.
Forgiving yourself for making that same mistake, the one you swore you wouldn't make again. That's presented as self-love.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's where it gets tough, though. Because we're taught progress is like a straight line upwards. So if you find yourself circling back to an old pattern, it feels like failure. Total failure.
But the idea here is that maybe that cycling back isn't failure. Maybe it's just part of the rhythm. It doesn't mean you're fundamentally broken.
Okay. That's a gentler way to look at it.
And maybe the hardest quiet act. Self-love means walking away sometimes.
Walking away from.
From things that just don't support your growth anymore, even if they used to feel really safe or comfortable. Relationships, identities, jobs.
That implies redefining what safe even means, doesn't it? It's not just comfort.
Precisely. So these little internal choices, choosing clarity over comfort, rest over performance, that's where the real work is.
That self-love in motion, as the source puts it.
Yeah.
Quiet, but definitely in motion.
Yeah, I like that framing. And that focus on the quiet internal stuff leads us straight into healing, actually.
Okay.
Because we have this public image of healing, too, right?
Right.
It's all soft light and calm journaling.
Peaceful smiles while looking out a window.
Exactly. The inspirational, quote, graphics version of healing.
But the reality, as described here,
Yeah.
well, it's not like that. It sounds much less picturesque.
Far less. Healing, when it's deep and slow, is often really messy, difficult, even disruptive.
So what does that look like then, practically?
Well, it includes those moments nobody sees, like crying at 2 a.m.
Oh, yeah?
because you're finally letting yourself feel the stuff you've been avoiding for years. That delayed grief, maybe, hitting you long after the crisis is technically over.
That makes sense. And it also talks about confrontation, doesn't it? Setting boundaries.
Yes. And that's uncomfortable.
Right.
Setting firm boundaries, even knowing it might disappoint people you care about or make them, uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable for everyone involved, usually.
But that discomfort, the source suggests, is often proof. Proof that you're actually protecting your space, changing the dynamic that caused the hurt in the first place.
Okay.
And maybe the most unsettling part of this messy process, realizing that the version of you who got really good at surviving chaos.
The strong one. The protector.
Right. Realizing that part doesn't need to be in charge anymore.
That sounds genuinely terrifying. Because survival mode, even if it's painful, it's predictable. You know the rules. Stepping out of that feels like stepping into the unknown. How do the sources frame that difficulty?
They frame it as courage, the sheer difficulty, the messiness. That's the proof of your courage.
Okay.
You were brave enough to face yourself, to admit change was needed, to disrupt things. It's called quiet bravery that no one else sees.
I like that. Quiet bravery. It honors the internal struggle.
Yeah.
So if healing is this messy, this difficult, then we definitely can't treat self-growth like some kind of checklist.
Or a race.
Or a race, exactly. Or a strict timeline we have to stick to. We have
Yeah.
to ditch that whole competition mindset to avoid just burning out.
Absolutely. And that's why the sources really focus on this metaphor. Growth isn't a race, it's a rhythm.
Yeah.
And it's a lifetime.
A rhythm. Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, they use a seasonal analogy, which I find really helpful. It's about personal pacing. Basically, we're just not meant to be on all the time. Peak performance constantly isn't sustainable.
We mix up being busy with being worthy, don't we?
We really do. So, the analogy goes, some days are like spring. New ideas, energy, hope, expansion.
Okay, the good days.
Yeah. But just as important are the winter days.
Which sound less fun.
Maybe less obviously productive. They're described as still, heavy, meant for deep rest, for internal processing, going inwards.
Right.
And the core idea is crucial. You are not meant to be blooming all the time. Evolution isn't just expansion, it's also retreating, resting, rising again. It's a cycle.
That makes sense. But embracing that rhythm, it also means accepting some painful parts, like outgrowing things.
Yes. Growth inevitably means letting go. Outgrowing parts of yourself, maybe survival strategies that worked before but don't anymore.
Releasing old identities that just don't fit who you're becoming.
Exactly. And this often impacts our relationships too, right? Well, growth can mean letting go of people who just aren't meeting you where you are now. And the sources are careful to say this isn't about becoming cold or suddenly harsh.
It's not about anger.
Not necessarily. It's about achieving a kind of calm clarity. Clarity about your own needs, your boundaries, where you're heading.
Clarity. Okay. But that clarity, especially if it means letting connections go, that must feel pretty lonely sometimes at first.
Oh, absolutely. That distance can feel like a void, definitely. Which raises a really important point. How do we stop that initial loneliness from derailing everything?
Yeah, how do we handle that?
Well, the source suggests we need to reframe loneliness itself.
Reframe it how?
It offers this really beautiful idea. Loneliness isn't emptiness, it's spaciousness.
Spaciousness.
Yeah. It's the room you've intentionally created. Room for your truest self to finally take up space again, without needing to shrink or compromise to fit into old boxes.
Wow, okay, that changes the feeling of it immediately, doesn't it?
It really does.
It suggests you're not lost. You're just making room.
Yeah.
And that feels so important for anyone listening who feels, lost or behind schedule or just not enough yet.
Absolutely. If that's you, listen to this. You are not behind. You are not broken.
Say it again?
You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. And becoming is slow. It's a lifetime process, not some quarterly goal you missed.
So the aim isn't this frantic rebuilding project, trying to fix yourself with external tools.
No, it's more like returning. Returning to your essence, to your natural softness maybe, to the truth of who you were before the world started telling you who you should be.
Remembering those parts.
Yes, remembering the parts that existed before the performance started. That slow, quiet, gentle remembering. That's the real art of becoming.
That's powerful.
So putting this all together, if we really take in these lessons about quiet courage, slow rhythms, messy healing, the sources push us towards a fundamental shift.
A shift in how we approach challenges.
Exactly. Instead of that exhausting, often stressful question we ask ourselves.
Which is usually, how can I fix my life?
Right.
Or what's wrong with me?
Yeah, exactly. Questions that come from assuming you're broken to begin with.
So what's the alternative?
The alternative question, the one we're left with, is much simpler but deeper. How can I love myself better through this?
Okay. That shift from fixing and judging to just presence and loving acceptance, that changes everything.
It really does. It changes how you navigate your day, your future, everything.
And just letting that sink in for a moment, slowing down. It doesn't mean you're giving up.
Not at all.
And gentleness isn't weakness. It's actually a profound kind of strength.
Remember that every quiet moment you choose yourself, when you refuse to shrink, when you speak kindly to your reflection, that is the process. That's healing happening right there, in real time.
So maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. If you accept that you're already becoming who you were meant to be, slowly, quietly, beautifully, what version of enough does that allow for you right now, today?
That's something worth exploring.
Definitely something to explore. Until next time on The Deep Dive.